Hi guys, Chelsea won, Aston Villa won. There's going to be plenty of doom and gloom amongst the Chelsea fans on the toxic Twitter fan base. But I just want to say this to you. As you look at the league table, we played the same amount of games as Leicester, who are right up there towards the top of the league, and we're only 3 points behind them. Let's just calm ourselves. This is my review of the game. Make sure you stay tuned to the end. Let's get cracking. So Chelsea come into the game with reportedly Frank Lampard under pressure to get results. We knew that we just played 2 days before. We played the Arsenal 48 hours before we played this game. Villa played as well. Both teams are not probably at their 100% best, but it was still a good game of football. Both teams were committed. Both teams went for it. And Chelsea were better than they were against the Arsenal. That's without any question of a doubt. We created chances. We got forward into dangerous areas. At times during the second half, we didn't move the ball forward quick enough, granted, but when we did and we got the ball wide, we created Villa problems. Villa set themselves up to literally defend the width of their penalty box of their back four. They were all in tight together, the width of the penalty box, allowing the space out wide, asking their 2 wide men to get back in and track back. So as a result, in the first half, Callum Hudson-Odoi and Christian Pulisic, who, let's be honest, come inside more often than not, would then come inside and Ben Chilwell would have acres of space. And Chelsea just didn't utilise that enough. And there's a lot of people at the moment saying Chelsea just cross and all this. If a team is going to play that narrow as a defensive unit, you've got to move the ball wide and you've got no option but to cross. People are talking about the fact you need to play the ball in between the lines and play it quicker. I get that. I understand it. But when they play as narrow as they do, it makes it difficult. Chelsea got the ball wide. Chelsea put some crosses into the box. Some were good. Some weren't so great, let's be honest. But the Chelsea goal come from a great move. We had the ball in the middle of midfield and we play it into the feet of Giroud, who's got his back to goal. He's probably just right of centre and he takes a touch to bring it under control and just lays a nice little flick back heel into the path of Christian Pulisic, who's 25 yards out, left of centre. He drives towards the edge of the box, shut down by the defender. As the defender sells himself and makes a challenge, he's got Chilwell on the left-hand side, flicks the ball out to him. And while Giroud has flicked the ball off, he then makes a run into the box, telling Chilwell where to pass the ball to. Chilwell flicks a great cross into the box, no higher than about 3 foot off the floor. Giroud onto it, stoops, heads it into the bottom corner. We're 1-0 after 34 minutes. And Chelsea deserved to be that way. Villa were dangerous at times. They were looking for Watkins to float around our back four to find spaces in the channels. And sometimes he did, but we shut him out. There were other times they got in and got their crosses into the box and made Mendy. I think Mendy made a save in the first half. Villa were busy, but they didn't really have a lot to trouble us with until sort of second half. So Chelsea were just... You knew when we had the 1-0 lead, we needed a second goal. The problem is that Villa was still setting their defensive shape, still pressing us when they could. And with Jack Grealish as the outball, who knows he's going to be challenged, so when he's running, he just stops dead, knowing that someone's going to clatter him and he falls on the floor. I thought that Yerry Mina of Everton, the centre-half of Everton, went down more than I've ever seen anybody. Well, he does for a centre-half under a physical challenge. If he loses it, he just falls on the floor. But Jack Grealish is such a good player. He could be even better if he just cuts out, rolling about on the floor, trying to get fouls. And the Villa goal come from Grealish. And I have to say this, when you see footage of the goal, Villa have got a throw-in and they take the ball. It comes inside to Grealish. And he's on the left-hand side of the pitch, probably about halfway inside our half. He takes a touch and the ball's running towards Christensen, who's coming to challenge him. Christensen just steps forward to make a challenge and doesn't get there. Grealish flicks the ball past him with 1 foot. And then knowing that he might give the ball away, bearing in mind he's got somebody sort of out to his left-hand side, Grealish thinks, if I give the ball away, what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave my foot in and kick the defender and go down anyway and make it look as though I've been fouled. So he kicks Christensen on his knee. Christensen at this point has stopped, hasn't made any contact with Grealish. The Grealish kicks in to go over. and Christensen's down holding onto his knee, and he didn't move until the physios come on minutes later. What happened was the ball went out to left-hand side, come back to Grealish, who worked his way across the centre of the pitch, 35 yards out, plays it out to the right-hand side to Matty Cash. Now, Chelsea trying to organise themselves defensively without Christensen there because he's still injured, lying on the pitch, face down on the grass. Play continues. Cash spots a run from El Ghazi. Azpilicueta's come in to fill the gap where Christensen would have been to mark Watkins, but behind him is El Ghazi. El Ghazi, unmarked, literally ball comes over to him. He volleys it through the legs of Mendy, who can't do anything really, and it's 1-1. If Christensen was there, El Ghazi would be marked by Aspi. Christensen's down, referee says play on. It's a foul. Grealish fouls Christensen to try and make it look like he got fouled, whacking him on the knee, and Christensen was down injured. Chelsea protested, complained, nothing was given. VAR didn't even get involved, even though you saw slow-mo replays. It's pointless, VAR. Bin it. No point having it. And the goal stood. So Villa had scored after 50 minutes of the game, 5 minutes after the half-time break. There was no changes by this point. After that point, probably up until the last, I'd say up until about 60, 65 minutes in the game, Chelsea was still trying to move the ball from wide areas, get it into the box or in and around the box and taking pot shots from outside the goal. Villa had a couple of chances outside the box. One was hooked wide late on. One was over the bar. Another header went wide. Chelsea were trying to get their balls, the crosses into the box, but they were being dealt with easily. Or when we did get in behind, we pulled the ball back and everybody was either in front of the ball or behind the ball. There was one ball played towards the back post where everyone just stood still, didn't gamble, Hudson-Odoi. And it just looked like it was going to struggle for Chelsea to try and get an equaliser. Giroud come off and Jorginho come off for Kai Havertz and Timo Werner. Werner couldn't really get involved in the game. The one opportunity he did have, the ball comes to him on the edge of the box and he's being closed down by defenders. He has a shot. The ball's already rising. He tries to keep it down. He doesn't. It just goes over the bar. Pulisic had a shot that went over. Chelsea were busier than they were against the Arsenal, but Villa's defensive sort of stance held firm and Chelsea just couldn't get that second goal. And it was a blow to concede their goal, as I say, but Christensen was down injured. Chelsea needed to do more, move the ball quickly, a lot more. And it was just frustrating. Villa come in to do a job and they did it, so you have to give them credit. Chelsea needed to do better, needed to do much more. Didn't happen, and it's just a point, not 3. So what's going to happen now is you're going to see all sorts of negativity, all sorts of pressure being put onto Frank Lampard and the players. And as I say, I remind you at the top of this video, Chelsea just 3 points behind Leicester. Everyone's praising Leicester for having a great season so far, blah, blah, blah. Chelsea are doom and gloom with 3 points behind them. Let's have some perspective. Now, the next game was due to be played against Man City coming up the weekend, but Man City have had their game, which is due to be playing now, postponed because of their coronavirus outbreak, which probably means our game's not going to happen because their training ground has been closed. So Chelsea are probably going to have a couple of weeks now or a period of time where they can recover, regroup, talk amongst themselves, sort things out and get things just back to where they should be. And we go again. It's a busy period. It's a second game in 48 hours. There was rotated players. The Chelsea team was Mendy, Aspi come in, Rudiger and Christensen come in, Chilwell started. You had Mason Mount start with Conte, but you had Jorginho there. You had Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi and Giroud. There was a few changes there. It's a frustrating game against teams that set themselves up not to be beaten. Villa are doing fantastically well. They're just above us in the table now with 2 games in hand. But, they're doing well. Chelsea, did they do enough in the game? They did enough in the game to create some chances which should have been taken, maybe. Is it better than the Arsenal game? Yes, the performance was better. Was there more urgency, more creativity? Yes, there was. Did Villa cause us a real threat? Probably not really. But did we have more of a threat than Villa? We did, but we just couldn't get that second goal. So let's just take stock of everything. It's a disappointing performance, bearing in mind the fact it's only a point and not 3. Of course, we want Chelsea to bounce back and get 3 points after the Arsenal game. Didn't happen, wasn't meant to be, but it was a better performance. So let's just take stock of everything. Let's just go easy. Let's not jump the gun and be hasty. And as I say, we're only 3 points behind Leicester. So that's pretty much it from me. Uncut video just to complete, just me waffling on about the game. Hopefully you enjoyed the game. And if you did watch my commentary, thank you very much. A record number of people watching and views and super chats, which I am very thankful for. So if you've never seen one of my streams before, my commentary, check out the video on the channel, which should give you an idea of what it's like. And thank you guys for your time, for watching the stream. And if you didn't, for watching this video, really appreciate it. Drop a like on the video for me, then subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it already. And I'll see you next time, which will probably be tomorrow. Have a good evening. See you then.